Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video we're going to talk start collecting Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're taking a look at the Fyreslayers, and in particular the Lofnir Drothkeepers Army of Renown. Now in this video we're going to go through the battle traits for the Lofnir Drothkeepers. These are their own unique battle traits and they do not use any of the ones from the Fyreslayers battle tome. Though at some points in some of these armies of renown there may be similarities between some of the battle traits. They are indeed their own separate lots, so use what the ones are presented here and not the ones in your battle tome. Now, with that said, after this and looking at all the battle traits, we're then going to look at a couple of units we recommend to get started with before having a look at some other units we can use to expand upon the initial purchase. We'll then finally finish off the video with a little sample army list of 1,000 points for you to use, hopefully as some inspiration for starting your own force of the Fyreslayers in Warhammer Age of Sigmar using the Lofnir Drothkeepers Army of Renown. And so, to begin with, the battle traits. First of all, we have Daring Tamers. The Strike Last effect applies to enemy monster units while within 3 inch of 2 or more friendly Vulcan Flameseeker units. Vulcan Flameseekers are the new Fyreslayers Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry warband. A really fun unit to bring to the tabletop, and this is sort of what the whole force is built around, the idea of what that unit is all about. Honorbound Drothmasters means friendly Vulcan Flameseekers, see more rules for them, have the Battleline Battlefield role. In addition, for each Vulcan Flameseekers unit included in your army, you can include an Auric Runesun on Magmadroth as a Battleline unit as well. Flamefield Beasts means you can pick up to 3 friendly Lofnir Drothkeeper units in your army to have different mount traits instead of 1. And Skilled Drothwranglers means once per turn in your movement phase you can pick up a friendly Vulcan Flameseekers unit and teleport them around with one of your Magmadroths. Protective Family means while the friendly Vulcan Flameseekers Kindledroth, the little baby Magmadroth model, is within 1 inch of a friendly Magmadroth, the big boys, that model's unit of Vulcan Flameseekers will have a ward of 5+, which makes them pretty darn survivable. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. And so, where to get started with this force? For me, the Auric Runefather on Magmadroth is the place to go. This is going to be your big heavy hitter for the force, but also it's a Magmadroth so it can transport around the Vulcan Flameseekers. Now the Auric Runefather on Magmadroth is 16 wounds with a 4+ save. He's got some pretty decent power in combat with his Latchkey Grand Axe giving you 4 attacks at 3s and 3s, Ren 1 damage 3, on top of the Magmadroth's damage there as well. Roaring Firestream allows you to do some range damage. Lashing Tail allows you to do some mortal wounds at the end of the combat phase. And you've also got Volcanic Blood, where every time you actually take wounds, you can potentially deal some mortal wounds back to your enemy as your literal magma blood just flows all over your enemies. Now, Lords of the Lodge, once per battle at the start of the combat phase, you can pick a friendly unit with this ability to unleash the Wrath of Grimnir, and if you do so, until the end of the phase, you add one to your attacks characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly Fyreslayers units while they're held within 12 inches of the unit. It's going to be pretty nice to power up some of the units nearby, and especially since this force really does want you to sort of pair Vulcan Flameseekers with him, giving them some extra attacks once per game can be really nice. Now the Vulcan Flameseekers themselves, like I said, they are actually a Warcry warband, so in this force you're going to get a force that plays Warcry really well as well in this. 2 wounds each and a 5+ save, remembering if they're nearby Magmadroth's got a 5+ ward on top of that, which is really nice. Fire Steel Throwing Axes like all Fyreslayers for some very minor ranged damage, but you do have your Vulcan Fire Steel weapons for 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, no range damage 1. Now, Magmadroth Scale Whip is the Drothmaster here. This stops enemy monsters nearby being able to carry out monstrous rampages, and the Kindledroth as well can do a little bit of mortal wound damage for the unit as well. All in all, a pretty solid unit. For their points cost, 18 wounds in them at 140 points is nice, and they can be fairly survivable in this particular type of army. Now, looking at where to go next, obviously looking at the other versions of Magmadroths I think is a really important way to go. First of all, the Auric Runesun, because these ones do become Battleline, are probably the next Magmadroth I'd look to bring into my force. They've got a very similar sort of amount of special rules, Roaring Firestream, Lashing Tail, Volcanic Blood, all there same as the Auric Runefather. These are just abilities you get with Magma Droths in general. The Rune Spider will have these same rules as well. Vying for Glory, though, if the unmodified hit roll for an attack made by this unit targets a monster and is a 6, the attack causes a number of mortal wounds equal to the weapon's damage characteristic, and the attack ends, though this has no effect on mounts, weapons. So, pretty cool stuff, and you can have some really cool damage from your weapons in combat. You could either have the Ancestral War Axe, which is 5 attacks at Ren 1 damage 2, or go for 3 attacks at Ren -2 damage D3 with the Wormslayer Javelin, which also will actually give you an extra shooting attack as well. Now, the Rune Smiter is going to be interesting because we actually don't have a rune lore available to us in this particular army of renown, but we could still use the generic prayers as well. So things like Curse could be really nice with a high amount of attacks we are going to get. But we also have the cool rune on our base profile, the Prayer of Runic Empowerment for +1 to wound, which I think is really nice. Now, moving over, we definitely want to look at some other units to sort of expand and give our force some other options, and movement is something this force does better than any other Fyreslayer force. So I think an Auric Rune Smiter and Hearthguard Berserkers, a common combination you see with the Rune Smiter enabling the Hearthguard Berserkers to start off the table with him and come on from the board edge, is a really fun combination you can build up and play with and give you an additional little movement shenanigan thing you can do within this force. And so here we have our sample army list for you. Now, we've obviously gone with the Lofnir Drothkeepers Fyreslayer force, and this should be noted, you don't pick any sub-factions with this type of army as they don't actually have them. Now, we do have the grand strategy we've gone for here, which is the one available to us with this particular army of renown, which is called Clear the Corral. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are no enemy monsters in your territory. It's a pretty simple one to achieve, really. Now, a triumph here, we've gone for Inspired +1 a wound. We should have enough command points to be re-rolling the charges when we need to, but a +1 a wound can be really useful. If you are sort of expanding this army and you do manage to get in something like the Auric Rune Smiter on Magma Droth, I'd probably start going for the Bloodthirsty reroll to charge, but I think the reroll to wound is probably the way to go to begin with. Now, we then have an Auric Runefather who is on a Magma Droth, and we've got a command tray raised around beasts. This is really fun because you improve the Ren characteristic of melee weapons used by Lofnir Drothkeepers units that don't have the Magma Droth keyword, and are wholly within 9 inches of this general by 2 that target a monster. So this is really cool, giving our Vulcan Flameseekers some Ren if they're targeting monsters nearby. Now, the artifact Mastery over Monsters means when this bearer is contesting an objective, each enemy monster contesting this objective counts as 2, regardless of any other abilities that would allow them to count as any other value. So really, really cool, you know, versing your Gargants, 2 models, don't care. We then have the Magma Droth trait on this model, which is Golding Steam Breath. This means if the target's a monster with our Blazing Maw, we have a damage characteristic of 3 instead of D3. An Auric Rune Sun on Magma Droth, which will also be a battle line option as well. Here we'll have the Pack Droth and Magma Droth the trait. This allows us to transport an extra unit with the cool sort of movement ability we have. We then have 2 units of Vulcan Flameseekers, everything wrapped up in a battle regiment as we can because we do become battle line there with the Auric Rune Sun. So we have a 1-drop army, 68 wounds, nice and cheap. Like, this is a 4 unit army, really fun, really quick and easy to get on the tabletop, and it just sort of moves around together, fighting as a sort of nice big sort of block, or can split into 2 units as well if you need it to. I think this is a great way to get into Fyreslayers. Maybe not the most competitive Fyreslayer force, but definitely a good way to get into the force and get, you know, the cool models you want, which are the Magma Droths and indeed the Vulcan Flameseekers, all on the table nice and quick. If you've got an idea, though, of a Fyreslayer force you'd build with the Lofnir Drothkeepers to get started with, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And so, that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below, letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our great little community here, we have a Discord server linked down in the video's description, and also linked down there are the best ways to help support the channel as well. Our Patreon and YouTube members down there are fantastic ways to help support the channel, and if you'd like to get a shout out like all these people, you can go and join up today. So with that said, we'd like to give a shout out to all our Patreon and YouTube members. So thank you to our Patreons, Rob B, Broken Chef, Andy C, Grimscold, Colorblind Magic, Benjamin Swallows, James Cater, Mark Harvey, Domir, Average Wargamer, Q Damak, Andrew Bowen, Outer and Shot First, Kenny Lowe and Soren, and to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, James Tillman, Disco, John Castle, and Gargamel196. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.